On this edition of Fulton at Work, the rise of meth labs and fentanyl use has become so rampant that they're changing the way first responders do their jobs. Thankfully, there's a class the county's firefighters are taking that's helping them stay out of harm's way. I'm Daryl Carver. All that and more starts right now on Fulton at Work. In the early summer months of 2017, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation confirmed finding 2 new forms of the drug fentanyl in Georgia. Those forms were so lethal, in fact, that just touching an amount the size of 1 grain of salt could lead to an overdose or death. With that in mind, Fulton County's firefighters enrolled in a class called Illicit Drug Lab. And when we come back, we're going to talk to the president of the Fulton County Professional Firefighters to learn a little bit more about it. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Fulton at Work. I'm Daryl Carver. Before we went to break, we told you about a class called Illicit Drug Lab that's helping the county's firefighters deal with the rise of fentanyl and meth laboratories. Joining us now to explain how it's providing the proper training is the president of the Fulton County Professional Firefighters, Wayne Hines. First of all, Mr. Hines, thank you for joining us here on Fulton at Work.
Hi, Daryl. Thanks for having me on.
Now, it seems that fentanyl use kind of came out of nowhere. How was it determined that this illicit drug lab training course can help our firefighters and other first responders?
Well, the fentanyl issue's been around for a little bit, but with the changes in what's happening now, where the fentanyl will not be reversed by the Narcan, we're seeing a major change there, and we want to be able to fix the problems with them. So this is probably the best training we can give our firefighters to deal with an illicit lab or to deal with an overdose on the street so that they understand exactly what's happening.
Now, I understand this class is not costing the county a single dime because it's sponsored by the International Association of Firefighters. Talk about that organization and how it's helping our firefighters.
The International Association of Firefighters has been around for over 100 years, and that's dedicated to keeping firefighters safe. That's our main mission in life, is to keep the firefighters safe and let them go home at the end of the day. This class is administered by them. There's over 330,000 firefighters in the IAFF nationwide, and they've administered this and run it through a grant, and they have instructors brought in from all across the nation to teach these classes because these instructors have real-world experience dealing with the labs and can impart a lot of wisdom practically to what our students see.
Now, is it for new recruits only, or are veterans involved as well?
Every member, anybody that can go out and see a lab or run into a situation where illegal drugs or illegal manufacturing of drugs, from pill presses to methamphetamine manufacturing, can occur, they can recognize it and stay safe.
And what's the goal of this course? And talk about some of the objectives of it as well.
Well, the goal of the course is to make it where any firefighter, and we did have sheriff's officers in, can walk in or come close to a lab, understand what's going on, and realize the hazard to themselves, their other responders, stop, regroup, back away from it, and get the appropriate people there, the hazardous materials team, and let them mitigate the hazards to the responders and to the general public.
And one thing I wanted to get clarified, what exactly is the definition of an illicit drug lab?
Anything that's not legal is basically anything from a meth lab to a grow house designed to produce a drug for street consumption.
And how long is this training course, and will it be offered on a continuous basis?
The class is a 1-day, 8-hour course, and it's been offered to over 150 of the firefighters and sheriff's officers so far, and we will bring it in again in a couple of years so that all the new people will be able to do it. But every member of the Fulton County Fire Department has had it, as well as some of the sheriff's officers now.
And please tell us something more about the International Association of Firefighters and your role as president of the Fulton County Professional Firefighters.
As the president for Fulton County Professional Firefighters, I represent about 65% of the firefighters employed, and it's really my job to make sure that they're staying safe, they get what they need, that their rights are represented, and we do everything we can to make sure they have a safe workplace and a fair and equitable treatment while they're there. We've done a lot of things for our firefighters. We're going to continue to keep them in training classes so that they can do their jobs better and more effectively. And we'll make sure that the International Association of Firefighters continues to deliver classes like this that are of no cost to the Fulton County taxpayer, that they're able to take the training and deliver better service to our citizens for a cheaper cost.
Wayne Hines, that's great information. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fulton at Work.
Thanks again for having me on.
Now, when we come back, we'll talk to one of the firefighters who's gone through the training and get his thoughts on it. Please stay with us. Now, welcome back to Fulton at Work. I'm Daryl Carver. Now that we have a better understanding of the class that's keeping our county firefighters safe when dealing with fentanyl and meth labs, it's time to talk to someone who's taken that class. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about it is Lieutenant Jeffrey Potter. Now, what was your reaction when you first heard first responders need to rethink the way they respond to a lot of emergencies?
I think it's important, especially with all the drugs that we see every day, in our area. So I thought it was a good idea to take this class.
And how did this class help you to be a little bit more prepared?
It gives us more knowledge about what's happening right now. We see it every day, where it's an overdose or just on a regular call. Just something to look forward to when we know what to look at when we go into the houses we go to.
And so what was the most difficult part about it, and how much preparation did you need to have before taking it?
There's really zero prep work. Most of us are hazmat awareness or hazmat operations certified, so we have a little basic knowledge of it. The hardest part of the class is just sitting there listening to it for a long time, but it's good knowledge to have, and it's really helped us understand a little bit more what goes on.
What's the most incredible or most surprising thing you learned out of it?
The most important thing I've gotten from it is not to touch anything. If it looks strange, it probably is strange, and we just need to back out and reassess the situation.
I know as part of training you've had to go through other hazardous materials courses. How does this one compare to the others, especially since this epidemic came seemingly out of nowhere?
With the hazmat courses, we normally deal with like warehouse type situation, chemicals and stuff like that. With this class, it teaches us more about how the chemicals you buy at the grocery store, how you put it all together and it becomes more hazardous, more toxic to worry about.
And what does it mean to you to have the support of the International Association of Firefighters?
It actually means a lot. They come on their own dime. We didn't have to pay anything for them to come and teach us. They're very knowledgeable, and it's good that you have another agency backing you up and trying to expand your knowledge.
In the time we have remaining, share, if you could, your final thoughts on the Illicit Drug Lab training course.
I think it was very well done. I think it's very good knowledge for everyone, and I think it's going to help everyone in our future with the calls that we respond to.
Now, thank you again for joining us here on Fulton at Work, and thank you for the great information you provided us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back to wrap up the show after this short break. That's all of our time. Thanks for joining us for Fulton at Work, and a very special thanks to our guests today. Now, we want to connect with you online. Please check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Daryl Carver, and we'll see you next time.